Somebody has to mute his phone. Somebody is speaking from the background. Jesus said that, it's easy for a camel to go in the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And the disciples said, who then can be saved? Because they look at it in their mental form of reasoning and felt, oh my God, then there's no hope for anyone. The testimony I'm going to give you is somebody still have a tie speaking from the background. Please, can you mute your phone so that others can enjoy the discussions? So it's meant to encourage you. It's meant to let you know that there's no mountain that is insurmountable, because if you hear my story, I'm sure quite a number of you must have heard it. It's an experience that if anybody have good reason not to succeed in life, I am the one. If anybody have good reason, if reasoning is anything to go by, why you should not amount to anything in life, I am the one. I am sure my audience who are listening to me today, quite a number of you have opportunity to have gone to formal school. Quite a number of you have you enjoyed the company of your parents and lived. Life was totally unfair to me. So I want to start from the point of view to let you know, life is not about what happens to you, but life is about what happens in you. There are few things in life. There are a whole lot of things in life you do not have control over to. You can't decide who your parents is going to be. You can't decide the country where you are going to be born. You can't decide whether you are going to be a man or a woman. You can't decide the color of your lace. You can't decide your height. There are many of these things that you just have to accept them the way you see them. So, I was born to one Peter, late Peter Maduka and Roseanne Maduka. For those of you who are hearing me for the first time, the best I knew of my father was a day in the village, just before the Civil War. There was a great gathering. I was at the age of 4, but just take your mind back to a child of 4 years old. And it was like a masquerade. We are coming in our compound. It was like a festival, and people were gathering from all walks of life. And people were shooting guns. And those days, rice is a delicacy in Nigeria. It's not among the regular food in Nigeria. We actually eat rice like on a festival day, Christmas, Easter, or harvest. There's a church harvest. So it's not a daily meal. But one thing that was remarkable for me that day was that I can eat rice anytime I need it. As many times as I request for rice, they gave it to me. I saw my father dressed up in a black suit with a bow tie, laying at the bed. I didn't know that was dead, lifelessly. And, people were kind to me, extraordinary, unlike what they used to be. But what was strange to me was that I saw my mother's hair scattered. She was crying helplessly. So I was wondering, everybody was having a good time. Why is this woman angry, And she was barricaded in a place, and some people were trying to pacify her as she was crying. It was later in life I get to learn that was the death of my father. So if you think life was unfair to you, you just think again. My mother was a strong woman. She was a devoted Catholic lady. She really believed God with all her heart in the best that she knew. She inspired me to greatness. Many times, children who are born with a silver spoon stand on the gap. They are risk they don't take. They get to a place they won't move anymore. But I really didn't have any background, no pedigree. So everything was against me. So he that is on the ground fears no fall. I decided to give life everything to be able to succeed. My mother was my angel, and I say this with utmost respect to every woman to realize the importance of a godly mother in every home. My opinion, there are 4 books of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The 5th gospel is a mother. The mother is another book of the Bible that is not written. If you have a godly mother, our Bible made us to know that those Hebrew women, position their children at birth, calling their Ephraim, Manasseh, positioning them. My mother looked me straight into the eye at the age of 4 and convinced me that I can go places, made me to believe that I'm a likable fellow, that people like me and will always do a favor to me. Children like to see things from the view of their parents, especially the mother. The child sucks her mother's breast. Is the first face the child recognizes, not the father. The mothers play an important role. All of those things my mother said to me, I internalized them. I believed them like God spoke to me. It wasn't long. Nigeria's civil war broke. The best I'd been in a 4-corner wall called school was elementary 3. Very unfortunate. People say, but why didn't you do anything? All the things I've done were just based on self-improvement. Till today, I'm not a graduate. I stopped in what you call 3rd grade in class. So if some of my tenses are not adding up, don't worry about it, because what is important with grammar is for you to, understand. This is not from here. Can the person having his child please mute his phone? He can listen to us. No, I didn't know why you want the child to be interjecting in the discussion. It's also a distraction. Please, just cooperate and mute your phone. You can hear us even without you are not speaking now, so there's no need for you to put it on. So it was very challenging for me, but I listened to my mother and I believe her. So if you are finding my tenses not adding up, just understand none of us have it all in life. Okay? Don't measure on the things that are going wrong in your life. That's part of the lesson. God sent us here, every one of us, for a reason and for a purpose. And the reason and purpose why he sent us here is that there is something every one of us have to contribute to life. I may digress, and I'd like you to listen to me. No single one of us that is ungifted, even a retarded person, the person without eyes is gifted. Every one of us here come with a gift. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to, that's part of the things my mother said to me when I was 4 years. She convinced me nobody will believe me if I don't believe in myself. So, inspired greatness in me, first of all, to live life with courage. As I'm speaking to you, bear in mind that you require 3 things in life to succeed in my own assessment. One of them is faith. One of them is vision. And the third thing is courage. One is that you need to believe in yourself, have self-confidence, regardless of who you are. Understand that you are here on earth on assignment, that you are not a product of accident of sperm, because your father discharged about 5 million jam and all of them wanted to live and competed for life. There is an intelligence that decided and choose you, and you crawl from the back and jump ahead of all the other 5 million to hit the egg. And when you hit the egg, the other 4.9 million died. When they died, they have fulfilled their internal purpose. Their purpose was to help you catch life, because in science made us to know that if that number of sperms are not, germ is not like in that quantum, they will not be able to crawl to life. So the other ones come to help you to catch life. You have always been a winner. Anybody under my voice, you have won the first battle by coming into this life. There are 5 million of you that competed for one egg, and you are the one that caught the egg, and the others died, helping you to catch life. So you being here is not an accident, but you need to know you are here on assignment. And if you understand the assignment, then you'll be able to do it. God created every one of us to express his glory. Your life will not count until people look at you and have reason to say, thank God for this guy. Thank God for this, for the sock that gave birth to this child. The same thing we are said of Jesus and of different people. Please allow me to go back and front, but so that I want you to be able to appreciate the things we are discussing, because it's a journey of success. I'm saying life gave me no opportunity by any means to be anything. The death of my father introduced a role in my life. They have 4 children in quick succession. I was not the first, I was the second. We eat in the same pot. We put food in one pot and everybody ate from it. You know, we fought over food. I'm not saying this for you to sympathize with me. I picked food on the ground. I live with people who do not, because it was tough for my mother when the war broke out. So he has to share us to live with different people. Some of the people I lived with as a child, I need to eat more, but there is not enough food to eat. One day I went to where they cook yam vegetable, scoping the vegetable that fall on the ground, and saw there was a black soap there. I picked it, I showed the black soap thinking it was the yam that fell out of the pot. Not that I put hand inside the pot. I'm looking for something to eat. And I bite this black soap that is made from the dust of the whatever. My teeth was foaming for almost 1 week because there was no toothpick then. That's the kind of life I live. So if you have that kind of background, it builds some immunity in you and energy to fight poverty. You will know that poverty is not a luxury. You cannot, rely on it. You just need to, you will hate it with passion. You want to get away from it. So before I turn 7, my story is way out of this world and absolutely incredible. You can make a movie out of my life and it will sell anywhere in the world. Before I turn 7 years, I've learned how to climb palm tree. So people see me there, they say, well, is that a bird? Is that a human being? How did he get there? But it's about survival. I'll cut palm tree. I will correct 3 pence. I will dress the tree. Sometimes you need to get some of the leaves out for the palm tree nut to come out of it. That will cost 6 pence. I became a breadwinner before I turned 8. My mother will get us up early in the morning and make us to pray Catholic rosary. My mother inspired me and for development of love of God in my life. Before I turned 8, I've entered inside the bush, praying on my own, asking Mary to visit me, because as a guy coming from Catholic background, we had a story that Mary visited 3 children at Fatima. And that if she can go to Fatima, she can come to Nigeria. Actually, come to my village in Nnewi. And I went to the bush, prayed sincerely to see Mary. She didn't come. But I became an altar boy, did the best I can, seeking God, looking for God. My mother will wake us up early in the morning. Sometimes we pray Catholic rosary 2 times, double of it. I will go and grind beans, come back, she will make akala. And myself and my senior brother will go and sell it. Many times, I will finish selling a trim pan before my brother sell 2, before my brother be able to sell 1. I will meet an elderly woman. I said, please buy akala. She said, is it by force? I said, no, it's not by force. But my mother told me nobody said no to me. She will start giggling. And said, where did this boy come with this sense and will abuse his child? Said, if this one is around me, he or she will not have sense. And then she will ask me to put 3 pence or 6 pence on. So my mother wondered, how do I do this? That's how my entrepreneurial capability was discovered way back as a child. This all happened before I turned 7. Before I turned 8, my uncle, my mother's junior brother, brought me to Lagos. He used to sleep in a passage in 88 Defeat Street in Apapa Road, where his uncle lived. His uncle worked for Boson Stores. Frank Ikwazon. He had a bedroom with 2 of his children and his wife living in it. So my uncle only put his box inside there, but his bedroom was the passage. So he brought me to Lagos to come and work for him. So where do you think my bedroom is? Also, both of us sleep in the passage. But from then on, it wasn't long. When he's going back, our store is at Oyimbo bus stop, just where they used to dump orange and, very dirty place. Opposite is where his store is. I was not 9, I was 8 plus, but he was scared that I may not be able to manage it. So he will get me something to eat. He stays a little bit late. When it was about 8 o'clock, he will lock me up there. I live a life that is so degenerated, like unnormal, uncommon. In other words, that store do not have fan, does not have air conditioner. There's no window. He locked me up there from outside to go. If I need to do every other thing, I do it there and take care of it early morning in the morning. And then if there is a fire, I would have been roasted to death. Those are my life background, where I am coming from. There's no way you can go through these things without having sense, because Bible recorded that Jesus learned obedience through the things he suffered. Many times, the problem with young generation of these days is their parents, because you are born into a middle-class family. Parents provided you money all your life. Some kids are still at 20, 25. Their parents is giving them money. Driver take them to school, everything. So how do the child will always think there's a tree that grow money? So while I was doing that, because of where I was coming from, I developed the culture of saving. I saw my mother work tirelessly. All my life, my ambition is, well, she lost her husband. God help me that I will, be a succor for her, will be a husband. I will help this woman to, see how I can make her life better. My uncle used to give me 9 pence for feeding. I would take 3 pence out of it. I bought a small box, mud box. I scored 3 pence inside, and then I'll eat the 6 pence. Sometimes somebody want to eat, I'll go and buy him a food. there's a leftover, I will eat all of it. I'll take the whole 9 pence and put there. One time, my uncle find that box and break it and saw I've been able to save £1, £1 and 5 shillings. That is like 3 naira in if you compare it in the money of those days, but very valuable. He thought I was stealing from him. I explained to him that this is what I did. My uncle is a very hard man. He said, oh, he didn't know that 6 pence can feed me. And I have the opportunity to save money. He started giving me 6 pence. And he was not giving me 9 pence again. If I have occasion again where I still believe in the culture of saving, part of the things I'm teaching today, because many young people today will tell you, I don't have capital. I want to say it unequivocally. Capital doesn't fall from heaven. The first sign that you are an entrepreneur is your ability to create capital. And how do you create capital? It's either you take a job in the first instance, knowing that the job you are doing is not your work. Your work. This person refused to put his phone off, unfortunately, to refuse to mute it. Your work is not your job. Your work is what you are born to do. Your job is what they pay you for what you do. Your work is your gift that God gives you when you are coming here. But your work is where you go to do something for people. You are never successful until you find your work, because God's motivation for creating a man is to work. When you find your work, your gift will make a way for you, because you will deploy your gift and people will pay you for your gift. You make yourself valuable. Money will follow you. So some of these things, you learn them through experiences in life. Some of us went to school. Unfortunately, school have taught us theories today and no practical experience that can help people to be able to apply themselves. And they all look for a white-collar job where they will earn money. When I was working for my uncle, I slept in a Butemata in Oyinbo bus stop. The things you said is very important. Some young boys, early in the morning, when I turned to 9 or 10, my uncle believed that I have, that I can now lock up the shop. He doesn't lock me up. He built something that I lock up the shop from inside. Very early in the morning, myself and Chisco, the guy that owned Coscharis Motors, he also did the same kind of job, apprentice. We will all bath on the road by 4:30 in the morning, by the corner of the road. We fetch water and take a shower there. Before 6 o'clock, when the store is open, we dress up. And some young children dress up on white, white dress, up and down, going to school. Some of them close their mouth like this and use their left hand and point to me and say, look at this large shop. And one day, one of them laughed like that. I also closed my mouth and pointed at him. I said, 5 years today, I will employ you. Yeah, it may look ordinary words to you, but a vision is another thing that is important in your life. Faith to believe in yourself, a vision to see the end, the destination before you start the journey. And you never truly believe anything until you speak it. And when you speak it, you must be willing to be misunderstood. Because if you are afraid to say it, you have not believed it. When you believe it, you say it regardless of the controversy that what you are saying will create. We see good examples in the Bible. Jesus in St. John chapter 17 and said, Father, I thank you for I finished the work that you have sent me here to do. He hasn't gone to Calvary. He was confessing his faith, but he's already thanking God for it. Joseph saw himself as a prime minister in Egypt, where he's going to learn, and say it to his brethren. They got angry and told their parents, the father called Joseph, thinking Joseph is going to take back his word. What is this I'm hearing about you? Joseph said, it's not just the 12th hour, but I saw the moon and they also made the ovation. The parents said, Come on, are you out of your mind? You mean your dad and mom will also going to worship you? Joseph said, no, that's not it. But I saw myself sustaining this family. That is the power of vision. Vision is about inclusiveness. Ambition is about yourself and what you will earn. But when you have vision, you are thinking about how it could be better for everybody, how you will make a provision for everybody. And Joseph was misunderstood. What God never showed him is that part of this journey is getting into a pit. Have to poo-poo in the pit, eat in the pit, do everything in the pit. But that was not shown him. He would have said, no, I don't want it. He didn't see himself in Potiphar's house. He didn't see himself in a prison. But those are the route to the journey of becoming a prime minister in Egypt. So it's like a journey of a voyage. You saw the end, but all the route that will take you to there is not known to you yet. But by faith, you take a step of faith and start walking towards it. My uncle took me before I turned 8, and I worked for him. I did very well in Lagos here. He sent me to go and open his branch in Jos. I worked for him in Jos. I did excellently well in Jos. Moved me from Jos to Sokoto. He opened another branch in Sokoto. Before I turned 14, I've already started managing business. And later he brought me back to Lagos before I turned 15. When I came back to Lagos, I still do not know how to read and write. It's very hard for me. One mechanic, his name is Olu, came to our office in Ebutemeta and bought some motorcycle parts. And I asked him, how much does he want me to write? Olu said, what is wrong with you? What do you mean, how much does he want me to write? Forget about new model Christianity today that we see. That was when Christians take what they believe serious. A Christian do not inflate invoices. They are not padding any invoice up to take extra money. They believe God will take care of them. Because the key word is Matthew 6:34. Seek you first the kingdom of God. Don't forget the path of righteousness and his righteousness. This relationship with God requires righteousness, and all other things will be added to you. But in the modern Christian faith today, we don't say it, but our attitude is to hell, seek the thing first, and to hell with the kingdom. Olu talked to me and said, you shouldn't do that. That was the first time I heard about gospel. He started preaching to me about Jesus Christ. I was a Catholic boy. By this time, Brother Kumuyi was still a lecturer in Unilag, and Papa Adeboye was still a lecturer. Both of them comes to the dead end of Ebutemeta to preach. Kumuyi have Monday fellowship there, and Brother Adeboye also teaches there. Okay, both of them were still a lecturer in Unilag. So I started going there. That's the first time I heard about gospel. I heard about gospel for the first time in my life in Redeemed Assembly in Ebutemeta. The devil was a fighter, and he's still a fighter. He's the same old demon till today. 2 weeks after that, my uncle posted me out of Lagos. I was not granted. And I went to Jos and went back to my Catholic church. But it was again at Sokoto. There's a young man that is doing apprenticeship like myself. His name is Adolphus. Then Christians are known by their life and character. Adolphus was unique among the rest of us doing apprentice. We are ruffians. We fight. We did everything. During this course, I keep on observing Adolphus because you see, many times people said, I fool people and tell them I'm not educated. No, education is not being in four corners of the world. Education is part of traveling, and anywhere you have been in life is a school. It's a question of whether you are willing to learn or not. You can learn by observation. You can learn by hearing people, and you can learn from what is happening. I kept focused watching Adolphus. One day I met him without Adolphus talking to me. I said, Adolphus, why are you unique? You are not like the rest of us, young boy doing apprentice. You have a quiet spirit that I like. He asked me to excuse him. Unknown to him, he went to the room. I tiptoed and followed him, and I witnessed this young man kneeling down praying before he came to talk to me. When he came out to talk to me, my respect for him sprung up so high. I just knew this guy was in a different pedestal. And I loved whatever made him that. He now was the person actually who preached to me and bought me the first book I learned to read from, which is Bible. Bible was the first book I learned to read from. Listen, adversity in your life is only a refining fire that burns out impurities in your life. It's something that prepares you to where God wants to take you in life. Today, I can read 4 books of the Bible or 5 without opening the Bible, because I couldn't make note when I was age of 14, 15. So my retentive memory was sharp, open. I can cram things in my head. So I can read you Romans 6, 7, 8 without opening word to word, and you'll listen to it. Hebrews chapter 3, Hebrews chapter 7, different passages that resonate with me, I internalize them. And David said that, what have I hidden in my heart that I will not sin against you? Before I turned 15, I met the person of Jesus Christ in his resurrected power, and that transformed my life. I have a clear sense of direction and purpose where I want to be in life. Okay, so please listen. I came to church where they taught me the principle of the... Okay, I came to church where they taught me the principle of the Bible, how to follow God and believe him in his word. So before I turned 15, I drew a program of who I want to be in life. I was under 15, I was 14 years from. I wrote down, I want to marry before I turn 20. Many people have asked me, why was that important for you? I didn't want to fool around. I didn't want to do boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. I wanted to live clean, because I also believe I cannot pray through. I like faith without condemnation. I wanted to marry before 20. I wanted to own a car before I turned 23. I wanted to have a child by 22. I want to be a millionaire before I turn 25. I wrote them down, hang them on top of my bed. Before I go to bed every night, I anoint my spirit with them and rehearse them. When I was 15 years, my uncle had sent me to Newi to manage his office at Newi, and he came to Newi looking for me. We were fasting. I became a Christian. I made a commitment to Christ. I was with Central Christian Fellowship. We have 3 days fasting, dry fasting. When I was under 15, my uncle didn't see me and came back and said, oh no, this guy has turned out. I'm an Igbo man. If you want to get an Igbo man offended, go and lock his shop. Actually, that's when you get his attention, because for us, our store is as important as any religion, if not more important than religion. I locked my uncle's store for 3 days and went to starve myself dead. He couldn't forgive me. He summoned me that evening. I went with my senior brother in 1976. He counted 200 naira and gave me. I asked him, what does he want me to do with this? He said, that's my settlement capital. That's less than $400. It's about $380 something. So if you want to say it's old model money, it still cannot pay for a store. My senior brother told me to leave the money, let us go. I looked at him, I said, do you have anyone to give me when we get home? He says, no. I said, okay, I'll go with this. But I've learned few principles in the word of God. I looked at my uncle, my mother's junior brother, straight into his eyes. I said, uncle, I served you well. Other boys stole from their master. I didn't have any of your property. Why do you want to give me 200 naira? That confidence my mother gave me from, I said, you know, I said, I can't, do I want me to buy a carton of plug and hog plug and say, buy plug? Where do you want me to go with it? Say, whatever I want to do with it, I should do. I said, God, give us 5 years. 5 years from today, if you had who I am, your head would be spinning. It was too much for him. That shook him. He couldn't understand a young boy at 12 years talking like that. He took a second look at me. I said, thank you. He said, he know I will succeed. I said, thank you. That's all I wanted from you. Myself and my senior brother climbed the motorbike that we came with and went back. And I teamed up with him. And we set up a company called Maduka Brothers. That's my journey of success. Within 3 months, myself and my senior brother started differing in ideology. Because God's word called for total separation from every unbelief. My senior brother is still alive. If you read my book, From Trial to Triumph, you will hear, written by Ambassador Odom. He went to interview him and he still explained to him what brought the quarreling is that I go to Pentecostal church, Central Christian Fellowship. I will put 1 naira in offering. And my brother said, I can't take 1 naira out of our business. That they put 10 kobo in their Catholic church. I say, you drank beer. I drink Coca-Cola. How much is a bottle of beer? Why? That the money you use to drink beer compensate for the money I put in. He said he doesn't want this agreement. He wants us to separate. I said, okay, let us separate. That's how we parted way. And I went to work on my own. The rest is history because I want to stop so that you can ask questions.
Okay.
I just wait for 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Before this time, I was in church with empty pocket, but faith that was full. I saw this beautiful young lady. When she sings, it's like an angel singing. And you look at her eyes, it crystal, like electric is shocking you. My pocket was empty. Everybody wanted her. I raised my hand up. I've always go very ambitious as a child. I said, Lord, I claim her in the name of Jesus Christ. With empty pocket, but faith that was full. I went home. I told my mother, I find a lady I'm going to marry. I was under 17 or 18. My mother said, you marry at what age? I told her, I'm telling you what I'm saying. That's this only. My mother said, at from where? I told her the parents. He said, your problem is that you don't know the size of your coat. You know, look at you. Nobody is a graduate in our family. You want to go to a place where they have 2 doctors. You to go and get a wife. God help you. Actually, the uncle of my wife shot me 3 times. Not a story. Gone. And told me if you ever see me in their family, he will kill me. That I cast a spell on their daughter because the young lady accepted to marry me. But the fact is that September 23rd, 1978, I was to turn 20 on December 24th that year. I took my wife to order and wedded her on September 23rd. First vision accomplished. I got married before 20. The duty of a man is to get married. To bring a child is the duty of God. God knew it would be terrible for 2 babies making baby. He closed the womb. Before 23, I was passing old Mandlas, old Oka Road in Onitsha at Mandlas. I saw a Volkswagen wagon, Passat, with 3,200 kilometers. I bought it and fixed it up. I own a car before I turned 23. One day, my wife was in the front of the car. My mother was at the back, and we are traveling somewhere. When these things come upon me, I said it. I said, 2 more years, I will be a millionaire. My mother said, please, Cosmas, please. I said, Mom, he said, please. I said, what is it? He said, this your boasting turned my stomach. You don't have 50,000. You don't know what 100,000 look. You are talking about 1 million. Let's go this journey in peace. I said, Mama, what did I do wrong? He said, if you say that again, I'll get out of the car. I stopped the car, wind the glass down, get close to my mother's ear. I said, Mom, 2 more years, I will be a millionaire. Do you want? Mama said, yes, I got that. I opened the door for her. She got down, I banged the car. My wife said, what this nonsense are you doing? I said, you want to get down? I drove away. I left my mother. It's my vision. It was not her vision. Bible says a vision is appointed to speak, although it may tarry, but it must surely come to pass. The kingdom of God suffered violence, and the violence taken it by force. Before I turned 25, at 24 years old, I own about $1.7 million. I own 1 million naira. And that 1 million naira is like, dollar was $1.88 in 1977 and 1978. The rest is history. Success is like a wildfire. You do one thing good, another one will ignite. You do another thing good, another one will ignite. That's the history. The Coscharis organization or group you are hearing about, that is the origin, and that's how it was given birth to. By the way, the name Coscharis is Cosmas and Charity. My wife is Charity. After I separated with my brother, I didn't want to call a local name Coscharity. I carved the name Coscharis. It sounds like Greek. And during the import license regime, Coscharis Motors. So people were creating this little small company with UTC Motors, with Leventis Motor, with Ekerejku Motor. There's something about a name. We were given import license. I was number 7 in the list. That's what brought about the transformation. Preparation, meeting opportunity. We see Google, we see Zoom today became bigger than 5 biggest American airliner because preparation saw opportunity. Don't sit back and wait till it happens, because you can never go to Olympic game as a spectator and want to come back with a gold medal. You need to qualify to play in the game before whether somebody will have a muzzle pull and you will run ahead of him. God bless you. I can take your questions now.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful presentation. Can we appreciate Dr. Cosmas Maduka in the comment section? Can we just appreciate him? Thank you for your wonderful story so far. We've had a lot of feedback in the comment section. A lot of people are already chatting. They are saying thank you for sharing your stories, which is resonating with everyone, because your story is indeed a story of trial to triumph. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, before we go ahead, I would just like to ask some questions related to what you've already shared with us, while we anticipate more questions also from the audience as well. You mentioned a beautiful part of your life about how you got married to your wife, sir. And I think I'll just go from there. And it's an interesting story. I'm just trying to look at it, moving from when you now started the business, maybe from your marriage, and when she joined you in setting up. How have you been able to manage running a business together with your wife in terms of partnership as a relationship? And how can you advise others who wants to emulate this model, maybe by running a business with their wife or their husband? How would you advise them to go about it and settle these issues so that personal things will not disturb the business things? Thank you, sir.
Well, the issue is whether we truly believe we are Christians. If we are Christians, your wife is your life partner. Your wife is part of you. You are not completed without your wife. Let me make some statement here that is important that I want it to resonate with everybody. When God created man, God created a species of male and female, and he called them man. But when God wanted to build human family, He started from the male man and formed him from the dust of the earth. And from that time till today, no other being came from the dust of the earth except the male man. The wife of the male man came from the man. God's motivation for creating a man is to work. If we read clearly our Bible, Genesis chapter 2, Genesis chapter 1 was a summary of God's creation, but Genesis chapter 2 was implementation, how he did it. If you read it, he said this is generations of the earth when God created man in his own image. And then he started explaining how the earth was without form and void. They were filled with rock and store. Nothing, no leaves ever grew, nothing created, because there was no natural man. Man was a spirit being God created and put in a human flesh. He needed somebody with a physical being to carry out that instruction, because a spirit cannot carry out the instruction why God gave a man. So in verse 4, Bible said there was no storm, nothing grew than Genesis chapter 2. But by 6, because the motivation is somebody to work, and God, until God created a man, then rain fall and leaves start growing. And God put the man in the garden to do what? To dress it and to keep it. So the purpose of man was to work. The creation of the man was to work, to dominate this earth. Many of us are in a hurry to go to heaven. Don't make mistake. Heaven is our ultimate goal. But before we go to heaven, God's idea is to bring the heavenly influence over this earth. Jesus taught his disciples, pray in this way: our Father who it is in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Bring the heavenly influence here on earth. So Adam didn't fall from heaven. Adam fell from dominion. And the whole program is to go back to Eden. Eden is an atmosphere, influence of God's presence, where the presence of God is and man is in charge. So when Adam started walking and addressing the garden, the next thing God did is to send animals to him and say, activate your brain, give them names. When Adam did it well, God said, now you are matured, I'll give you a wife. He made the man to sleep. The woman, God called her a helpmate. A woman shows up in a man's life to help that man to fulfill his vision. By helping that man to fulfill his vision, she herself will drive satisfaction. That's God's program. So my wife was not an accident in my life. My wife came. But the problem is that many young men don't have a job and they want a wife. Listen, when you don't have something doing and you bring a wife, you confuse her, because she come to help you on what you are doing. But she came in your life and find you doing nothing. So you are confused. Her herself is confused. Then there is quarrel and fight. But if you already have a goal and a vision, she will come. Some of those things you told her before you marry her, she will start to prophesy them to you. Oh, I thought you tell me you are going to be this. So when a young lady see a young man coming into his life, the first thing the lady should ask the man is not, do you love me? The first thing is to say, brother, where are we going? Where are you taking me to? What is your vision? What's your program for life? Because what a woman needs is an assurance. A man don't need what a man interpret as law, as love, is respect, acknowledgement from the lady. The lady comes to you to help you to achieve something. So when my wife came into my life, I had a goal, a vision where I want to be. Please, it's a short program. We will not be able to get this, but it's a beautiful story. After I married my wife, I couldn't pay for my store anymore. Life became love. I have lived with this wife I'm living with. Landlord came to lock up my shop. Landlord was pursuing me for house rent. I owed tenancy rent for 1 year, 6 months. I couldn't pay. The man said he need to kick me out of the house. My wife took a job and worked in a company called Amaline where they were earning 85 naira, and she was supporting my family with it. Because I am a man also who feel dignified. Somebody had come to my wedding and brought a scale weighing machine. I took the weighing machine to the market. If anybody climb it, I collect 10 kobo with a motorbike. I came back home with some money. My wife said, "What did you do?" I said, "This is what I did." She cried like a little baby and lost her certificate and went to get a job. I was in self-the-loss mission at Ewi. One day after we have gone, I've carried a scale. On my way back, I went to church. One reverend is bishop now, Louis Mora, came to that church to preach and preached a wonderful sermon. Everybody give everything he has in his pocket. This is not a common sermon. Many people accuse Pentecostals that they preach prosperity. They preach prosperity. That is a prosperity. No, it's a principle. Principle is an inherent law that the manufacturer put in the product or program before he made anything. I never had a sermon like that. The sermon went up. Everything I have had in the scale, I went to put it in their altar box. They counted the money. We wanted to buy a church building. They say it's not enough. Second round of giving. That people are not honest. By this time, I didn't have anything. But when the Spirit of God inspired me, I removed my watch. I didn't know I'm going to be giving it as a testimony today. I removed my watch. Somebody gave it to me as a gift. Electronics watch, digital watch. I squeezed it, closed it in my hand. I went to that altar box and dropped it. My spirit was fired. One of my friends, Edwin Ozochukwu, has given me a bag of rice for Christmas that day. I went home and convinced my wife that I want to take this bag of rice to our pastor's house. Faith without works is dead. I can tell you, I was in the worst of my condition when this thing happened. 1 week or 2 weeks after that, another friend of mine was going to Onitsha. I drove him in his Peugeot 504, and we were having a discussion. He asked me, what am I doing? I told him how I made a misfortune. I ventured into importation and had a wrong consignment and lost my capital. He asked me to see him that evening, and I went to see him at a dinner. We discussed. He gave me 5,000 naira, and we set up a partnership. That year ended, I made 18,000. And I went to give him an account. I could have cheated him because he didn't know what I will make. I gave him a true account. He said, no, that what I'm saying is not true. How did I build 1,000? I said, that's the truth. It's okay. If it is true, the man would have been 50% owner of Coscharis today. He said I should bring back his 5,000 and then bring him another 5,000. I should take the rest. I did something smart. Instead of going with 10,000 that evening, I went with 8,000. I said, this is your 5,000. This 3,000. Please give me 3 more months or 4 months, 1 quarter, so that I can, if I sell all the goods and give you the money, some of the item will be obsolete. You know, he agreed. He said, this is about 70% return on his investment. 3 months after that, I went to give him balances 2,000. That year ended, I made 36,000. In 4 years from that time, in another 2 years from that time, I made over 500,000 from that little money. But you need to understand that to believe God, you need to believe God in totality. It's not a buffet. You pick and choose what you like and what you don't like. Many of us want to make God in our own image, looking for God who will fit our program, rather than God who we will obey. What do you know? What can you see? God is omniscient. He's omniscience. He knows everything. He's everywhere. He's all powerful. In my limited knowledge and vision, I want God to fit into my program. God in your own image. No, you have to believe God in who he is in totality and follow him with his program. Don't be afraid that somebody is going to take advantage of you. Trust God regardless. I have seen this God did wonders in my life That's why I said my story is way out of this world. I'm sorry I took too long time, but my wife was not a stranger. My wife is part of my life. I am incomplete without her. That's what life is ought to be. Many times we jump into things without understanding the purpose of it. Bible says everything was made for a reason and for a purpose. And when a purpose is not known, abuse will be inevitable. People get married without knowing the meaning of husband and wife, and they will abuse their marriage. People have children without knowing the meaning of having a child. They will abuse their children. People wear cloth without knowing the meaning of wearing cloth. They will go half naked, not knowing that to wear cloth means to cover and to conceal. You need to understand the purpose. Where your purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. The purpose is known when you understand the assignment. Then you will not take a wrong course. You will be able to follow the reason why you were born. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that wonderful story. And the truth is, our participants are actually learning more from your stories, because these are practical life experiences. This is not theory that you read from a book that you're sharing. So we appreciate this, sir. Okay,
Thank
as we
you.
go along, we'd like to encourage our participants to keep sending their questions. There are a lot of them. And we even have a feedback from one of our participants, Henrietta Organ. She said, your story is quite encouraging. Everything that you have said anchors on faith in what God has promised and righteousness in all areas of your life.
Sure.
So thank you very much, sir, because faith is a major thing you've said that everybody
Yeah.
must have. Not just faith only, even the works to back it up. And
Sure.
I think this is very important. So
Yeah.
as we move ahead, I would just like to move into the other section of when you started your business from
Yeah.
1977. And I'm sure you started employing people. You already had the vision for how Coscharis would go. So I want to ask some questions. You've already shared some of these answers with us, but what do you think, or how do you advise, rather, entrepreneurs of nowadays on how to start relationships and build business relationships that will last a lifetime? Because from your story,
Okay.
you mentioned relationships is a key thing. And you can also
Sure.
tie this to how you also look at human resources, how you staff your
Sure.
organizations in terms of relationships, but business relationships that will last you a lifetime. How do you go about this, sir?
Okay. Number one thing is to have a mentor or to go through apprenticeship, something I believe so much upon. A lot of people, like I said, look at me and said, that illiterate, he was not educated. No, please. It depends on what you understand the education to be, because some of you speak grammar and think you're educated because your grammar. Tell me who have get an award because he never mix one word in his grammatic. That's a British borrowed language. If we speak Igbo, there's nothing I will say that will be wrong because my mother spoke vernacular to me. But the real thing I want you to understand is that apprenticeship course my uncle gave me was the best university I could have ever been in life, because I was taught street smart. I was taught everything you think you need to know to survive. It was a practical university, not theoretical university. While I worked for my uncle, I learned everything about internal combustion engine. My uncle of motorbike, my uncle were selling motorcycle spare parts. My brain was sharp. Under 12 years, where you can assimilate. But like everything in life, I didn't stop only in what my uncle taught me. I did the research in informal way, not the way you did it in university. My uncle would tell me this is a timing chain for Honda C75. But I did extra job to know what other model of bike with this timing chain fit in. And I was taking a note what they are, because those are secrets that will make me money in future. In my spare time, in our own day, there is no mobile phone, there is no WhatsApp, there is no social media. that battle for the mind of the young people, because life is about focus. If you understand the power of concentration, you can break a bottle by a power of focus. When you focus on anything with with intensity of a laser beam, you will be amazed what you can achieve. Henry Ford, the man that developed Ford automobile, say who is an educated man? He said an educated man or a woman is a man or a woman that organizes thought into productivity. I don't care what certificate you have. I don't care what professor you have. If you can't organize your thought into productivity where it can be measured and show a reward, you are not profitable to yourself, not to your family, not to your community. So what is the essence of education? So an educated man is a man or a woman that can organize his thought to productivity, whichever way it comes. During this apprenticeship, I learned too many things. There was no computer, but there are basic things I learned from my uncle. So if you want to start business today, you mustn't start like me, but I can give you a clue. If you are starting from ground zero, you don't have all the money. Don't look for beautiful office. Don't look for an employee because you cannot pay them. So the thing we did during our own days was that you will go do apprenticeship for somebody for 6 years or 7 years. No contractual agreement. That's why I said this is the best university anybody can go. You learn unprecedented discipline. Because the day you misbehave, that man just give you transport motor to enter the next motor. You are back to the village. Nobody sued him to court because there was nothing written or agreed. So you lost everything. So you must be at your best behavior 24/7. So I learned discipline. Discipline is a prerequisite. Is a prerequisite for success. I learned unprecedented discipline during my age of apprenticeship. My uncle have what we call receipt book. We printed the receipt. So everything we sold, we need to issue receipt. Even when customer doesn't want to receipt, we still record it in our receipt book. Then it has what is called sales book. So every evening when the customers stop coming, we take that receipt and start recording everything we sold in our sales book. After recording it, you total it and count the cash in your drawer to correspond with the cash with what that sales book recorded. If there are something, if at the end of the day, the total sales book showed you have made a sales of 15,000 and the cash you find in the drawer is 17,500, then you need to look for something you sold for 2,500 that you have not recorded. Because my uncle also have what we call purchase book. He has what is called expenses book. Expenses book means if he's going to Lagos or traveling to Anambra, anywhere he's going, every money he spends each day has to be recorded in that expenses book. So he's able for you to know how much you spend in each day. How much you spend in each day. Please understand that capital is a resource that is not in plenty supply. If you read economics, they will tell you it is not plenty in supply. It is limited by nature and is depletable. So the first thing you learn if you are starting a business is to have an eagle eye on cash flow to manage your cash, your capital. So if you have this expenses book, you must discipline yourself. If you drank Coca-Cola, 7-Up, you ate gala, you must record them to know how much you spend each day of your existence and record it week, and by month. So you know it costs me 20,000 to live in 1 month. It costs me 14,000 to live in 1 month by the things you spend every day. That's number one. Number two is that this sales book this purchase book you have, anything you buy, correct receipt for it. When you come back, you record them, put them all in a note. Number three is that you have another exercise book we call stock book. So if my uncle go and buy bread, 50 loaves of bread, we will record it on the 7th of November 2020, 50 loaves of bread in that day. So if the following day we sold 30, we will go to the minus 30, balance is 20. So he can always take stock. Sometimes if you have excess cash, you can start checking your goods because you will see what is shortage. This is part of the discipline to know how you keep the boys working for you under check. So initially, I don't have money to employ anybody. After I started my own business, I was the managing and damaging director. I was the chief accountant. I was the CFO. I was the clearing and forwarding agent. I was the everything. I am A to Z. My second employee was my wife. She joined me and become the cashier in our business. I will go to buy, she will be selling. I taught her how to sell and all of those things. And we were keeping this record. I was so disciplined that I will give my wife money to cook soup. But before I give her money, I insist she will give me a list of what she's going to use to cook the soup. She's living, and this is a true story, and God knows I'm not lying. She will write pepper, salt, bottle of oil, bolongi, egusi. I will keep it. I will give her money. And next week, she tell me she want to cook soup. I say, where is the list? She will make another list. I will use this list to compare with last week's list because I'm finding it somewhere. I see a bottle of oil. So I said, honey, you wrote oil last week. You bought 1 bottle of oil. What happened to the oil? Is oil Coca-Cola as if you have drunken it? No, but I was teaching her financial management. Financial management is what is lacking in the body of believers today. Many of us are not disciplined financially. We do not learn how to manage resources. Many churches has this problem. If a young man come to me today to tell me he wants to go to school of theology and he wants to start a church, I would tell him, please go and read financial management first. Forget about theology because you don't learn God in school. God is something that is revealed to you, but go and learn how to manage money. Many things we are proud about today, God is embarrassed about it. Many of us who call ourselves Christians, because we squander resources. We are not disciplined enough to know how to deploy resources in a productive manner. That's the biggest downfall in the Christian community. Everybody put everything in the pocket and be pulling money from your pocket and living. If you can't keep record, how do you pay tithe? How do you hold yourself accountable? You do the thing by witchcraft or by akujiba. You need to carve records. With my level of illiteracy, I have enough record to tell you whether I earn money in a month or not. My discipline that I learned from my uncle is that I don't spend money I do not earn. So I can tell you precisely from the date I start business how much I made in that week and in a month. So if there's expenditure that is coming that will not go within that expenditure will stop. If 10 people were crying in the village, everybody is dying, I'll give them tissue paper to clean their eyes because I have to have an eagle eye on capital. I will not allow my capital to deplete because my capital is part of my intelligence. This is the bird that brings me food. So if I get hungry and eat it, then I'm ready to die. So I manage capital in that sense. Taught my wife the discipline of managing capital. That's how we started. And we manage resources very well. We don't spend money we do not earn. And we are recapitalizing the profit we are making back into the business so we could see the growth of the business. You see some sister today, oh, what do? I cook food. How is it going? Oh, it's going well, it's going well. Customers are coming. Activity without progress. You need to check how much did it cost you to cook soup, one pot of soup. The garri you bought, so the food you sell. So how do you make income? If you don't keep this record, you are having you have activities, but you do not know whether it's some part of the way people dance, one leg front, another two leg backwards, one leg front, another two leg backwards. They haven't gone anywhere, but their body is shaking and moving. But for you to run a business, you must progress, and you need to put all of these things in place for you to go. So that is my foundation. When I started earning enough money to hire staff, because why do I have to hire people? I need, first of all, is that I started earning enough money to start paying myself salary. I have to separate myself from the business. I started paying my wife salary also at a time. Then we earn enough money where we can pay employee. I did what I was taught initially. That's why in life you have to be innovative. You have to keep on looking outside of the box. When I was doing apprenticeship was good, but the back end of apprentices that is not good is that you get a boy to work for you. You taught him how to be able to work hard. He started working hard. By 5th year, 7, when he's getting matured, where you will give him right to be able to take initiative, you keep on micromanaging the people and you give him capital. And that boy goes set up a new business. The boss has already built a house in Jaguar or bought a Peugeot 504 or Mercedes. He come to office by 10. That boy still come by 7. He start taking the boss customer. And from taking the boss customer, he's working hard. The boss start going down. The boy start journeying. So before I come on the scene, we are creating a generation every 7 years of rich people. Then by the next 7 years, that 14 years, that person start going down. The boy he turns start going up. I said, no, this is faulty. I will not do this. After I took the first set of boys, when I settled them, I replaced them with employee. I said, we are going to bake a big cake. Everybody can take a pile out of it. And everybody say, I am crazy. No, I have only refined what I was taught, the way I see it. That's why, innovation is the key. You must keep on innovating. You will not say, this is what they teach me. I must continue to do this the same way they taught me. You will never make a discovery without missing a road. If you follow the same road people tell you every day, you will not know new road. So sometimes you go out of the road to discover there's a new road here or there's an accident there. So I left off what I was taught. I took part of the things that I was taught. But I knew if I have to follow that system, because once I came on the scene and I started progressing, I knew all the customers that serve my master. They relate to me. I am the person that attend to them. I took them up. My master start going down. So that system doesn't last more than 14 years. I said, no, I will not follow this route. So today, I have revolutionized the way spare parts business is done. I have created a model that the younger ones coming from me are hiring employees, make a big cake. I'm not small mind. People who work for me build their own house. Some people that work for me earn 100 million naira per annum. What is the big deal? If they create me 2 billion and earn 100 million out of it, why should I be angry about it? But before the system I was brought up, your boss don't want you to know the price he import goods. So he cut the letterhead so you don't even know who ship it. He will only put the goods in counter, tell you, okay, this bread, the price you sell it is 15 naira. This milk, what you sell it is 14 naira. You don't know the price of the milk. So if it's making 40% and somebody want to pay 38 naira, you will not sell. You wait till you find 40 naira. This is micromanaging. You kill initiative. But when I set up my business, I started making believers out of the people that I hired, sharing my visions with them, and see those who bought into the vision to run the business. I gave them authority and take risk out of them. I trust them, give them my trust, and I verify and ask them to reciprocate the trust that I gave to them. The pitfall for average Nigeria, particularly an Igbo man, is lack of trust. We don't trust one another. And that's why we run one solo business. The day the person dies, business die. Because even the wife, some of the people don't trust their wife to even relate to their wife and tell them the truth. You must take the risk of trust. That is how to start from ground zero. Maybe I spoke too much, but that's I try to put everything on it to give you a clear picture of what it requires.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. You've just given us what an MBA program will take so many years for people to learn, and you've given this to us on a platter of gold for free in a few minutes. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. Wonderful stories. Okay, and it is interesting to know that we have people from various parts of the world watching us right now. We have people on our Facebook and Zoom and YouTube, and that's the beauty of technology. So having said this, there's a story that you share regularly, and we'd like to quickly touch on this before we take the questions, because we have questions from our participants as well, and I will read some of them out. There's something that comes across that you mention a lot, is a keyword called integrity.
That's correct.
Whether you do business locally or internationally or whatever, there are some principles of success that are constant, that you've always mentioned. Would you quickly just give us a story about your relationship with the Japanese that you always mention in your, because I know it's a story that people talk about, especially on that global. So let's have a global perspective to how you conduct your business internationally, sir.
Okay, please listen very well, because this is important. Sometimes I've shared some story and I talk about principle that is a law and that is inherent and you can't get anywhere without it. In one of my presentation, a young man raised up his hand and said, okay, this is I'm talking, where is the place of grace? If this thing I'm talking is correct, where is the place of grace? I said, young man, did I hear you well? Grace is not disgrace. Grace is ability to do what the law required. You need to listen. You can never be a failure in life or a success in life. It's about consistency. If you continue to do the right thing in a consistent manner, the end result is that ultimately you will become successful. You are not a failure because you make one mistake, but you must continue to take wrong decision consistently over a period of time. In St. John chapter 8, verse 31, Jesus turned to those disciples who believed in them and said, if you continue in my word, the operative word is the continuity. It's about the consistency of what you are doing. Do people that are successful never make mistake? No. One mistake will not make you a failure. One good thing you do cannot make you a success. Is be consistent in doing good thing, be consistent in doing bad thing. You will write your success or failure story over a period of time. When I did apprenticeship, it's part of the things we learn. We learn integrity in apprenticeship. We go to your neighbor to collect goods without any agreement. We trust that you will return the money. He will give you the goods and he will expect you to return the money. You don't come back and tell him story. You should bring it. Those of us who help from Anambra, particularly in Nnewi, have unwritten welfare system. When I grew up, the person, his shop is next to me. If I'm coming to Lagos to buy goods, I'll call him and say, oh, boy, did you make any sales this week? He say, yes. I say, how much do you have? Say, 5,000. I said, can you lend it to me? I'm trying to go to Lagos to buy goods. When I come back, I'll give you. On my honor, we don't write any agreement. Whatever he sold, he will give you the money. I come to Lagos. When I return back, when he wants to go to market, he asks me, I returned his money, have you made sales? I said, yes. It's okay, please, can you lend me 10,000? Whatever I have, I will give him. He will join to his own to come. That's how we help each other. There's no story told about this money. Nobody will call police for it. No law court. You will honorably return it. It's a culture, and people followed it, and we were growing. The first time I went to Japan or Taiwan, we were 7 boys. We are all competitors. And we slept in the same room because we want to manage costs for our goods. But I will keep secret to you what I have ordered, and you will keep secret from what you ordered. When I carry my pro forma invoice, I put it and put my head on it. When you turn my head, I will grab the invoice, because I'm leaving you to show your intelligence what you learn, to decide what you want to buy or what you want to import. But we are competitors, but we share costs to be able to help our neighbor, but allow your intelligence to work for you. This is the culture we learn and grow with. It wasn't long, I met the Japanese. The Japanese are people who taught me intelligence. They taught me commitment. We hear recently about the fundamentalists committing suicide. The Japanese have been committing suicide all their life. The man that has visited me in Nigeria, I've gone to Japan, went to dinner with him. His name is Mr. Mashishita, a Japanese. He committed what we call harakashi. Harakashi is that if the Japanese promise you he will pay you and he couldn't pay you, he will write a letter of apology to you and he will kill himself. He will take his life. That's what the man did. He had some financial challenges and he couldn't meet it. He wrote an apology to people detaining and take that Japanese knife and put inside his stomach and cut himself into 2. A Japanese is happy to know that the roof of your house caved in and you meet a payment obligation today, then you come to explain, oh, you know, there was a typhoon in our village and that's why I could not pay. One of my friends, we started business together, you know, and the Japanese veil us on credit. He said, but I can't kill myself, you know, and Nigerian government exchange rate change. I can't kill myself. The man said, please kill yourself. Please kill yourself because you promise. Please kill yourself. So they are understanding the only reason why you should not meet financial commitment is that you are dead. So I learned commitment from the Japanese. It's unwritten law. When you shake hands without writing anything, people say, am I teaching people to commit suicide? I mean, people understand that there's no explanation good. I think it was Brother Kenneth Hagin that says, when a man loses money, he has lost something. And when a man lost money, he hasn't lost anything. When a man loses life, he has lost something. But when a man lost integrity, is totally bankrupt. That person is finished. I learned commitment. People ask me, what does it take to run a successful business? I say, number 1 is commitment. Say, what is number 2? I say, commitment. What is number 3? I say, it's commitment. Let me explain to you. To borrow money from bank is not easy. The first money I borrowed in the bank was 1,000 naira from African Continental Bank at ACB in Newe. One Mr. Duru used to be the manager there and tell me how to turn up. You know, if you turn over, I borrowed 1,000 naira, went to my store without selling anything. I went to pay 250 naira. The following day, I went to pay 350 naira. I didn't even want, because I want to do turn up. The bank was correcting commission. Before you know it, the money remains 750 naira. I say, chai! Is that how to borrow money from bank? Because bank has taken commission and charge. I carry gbese for 250 naira. I return the money. Nobody will believe it. I never borrowed money from bank until I built that Coscharis Plaza in Adiola in Lagos. I went to work with my money. But I learned that the best credit you will get is what we call supplier's credit. Supplier's credit is where a customer gives you goods on trust because you will return the money. How does he do this? If you buy from him and buy from him consistently, don't start and the first thing you are asking for is credit. Like I said, if you do good thing consistently, if the man see you are coming every week buying goods of 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000, he will be tempted to give you goods of 2,000 or 3,000 on credit. If you want to get more, if you tell him you will pay it in 2 weeks, please return the money to him in 1 week. If you tell him you will pay him in 3 weeks, please return the money in 2 weeks. Let there be no explanation why you should take extra 1 day to pay. You are weakening him by it. The next time, you will not ask him from that 2,000, he would like to give you 4,000. He would like to start giving you 10,000. Because anybody that have goods need a source for it to go. But who can you trust that if you give goods, he will return the money to you? I learned this. It was part of my competitive advantage. When I started making money, many people did not know. Ask all these traders in Aspanda. I gave someone credit of 100 million. People said I didn't have house in Lagos. I said, this guy is a 5-story building. This one is 10-story building. He's owing me 50 million. This one is owing me 70. It's another 4-story building. This one. So I pointed those customers. Because while other people are insisting to collect cash, I give them goods on credit. You can use it as a competitive advantage because it's a culture and system that I grew with. So the other person, before he finished selling, you have sold 3 times. But you are looking for people you will give the money and they will return it. Assessing credit is not as difficult as earning it. Listen to me. This may sound strange. I was almost possessed with this thought. Jimovia came to my office for the first time in his life at Maza when he get me angered on a teacher. I wrote 1 check and paid him all the money I'm paying him and tell him I don't do. He said, no, this can never happen. Nigerians don't behave like this. That if they get, I said, that's the different thing. Japanese taught me. If a Japanese get angry, he will overproduce. It's not like Nigeria, damn tools. When they get angry, they will overproduce. You will not have market to sell. They don't say they will not work. I learned different culture. When you anger me, I pay you and I don't want to work with you anymore. So please keep your money and we don't borrow from Zenith anymore. I did that again to the managing director of Wema Bank. He also came to my office. You show strength. But other Nigeria will start, okay, let us negotiate. You overcharge me commission. I will not pay until you reduce the commission. You are coming from a weak point because it shows you are trying to run away. Show strength. One of my prayer is that I want to get to a point in business where I will not see any business I will want to do. Let it be that I do not have the money. People think I am crazy. Everything you get in life comes by desire. The desire has to come first, and then you walk towards it. On my honor, today, Coscharis borrow in what you call negative pledge. Means we don't offer you collateral to borrow money from you. Whether you are First Bank, you are Zenith Bank, you are Access Bank, you are Guaranteed Trust Bank, you are IBTC, whatever, you are Standard Chartered, we borrow, we don't pledge anything to anybody, and we don't pledge anything to you. If you get angry, we pay you the same day. I didn't pick it on the street, I earn it. I worked for it for 30 or 40 years to earn it. And nothing is impossible. Don't ever think there's anything you cannot. So today, 200 years old company, BMW, Rolls-Royce, Ford of United States, all my customers around the world work with me on what we call open accounts. Some of them are 60 days, some are as high as 180 days. There's an American company that work with me with 180 days payment terms. and I make 60, 70 million turnover with them annually. But I pay 180 days from the date the invoice is issued. And there's no collateral. No bank in Nigeria is guaranteeing it. I work with Exim Bank of United States. No local bank in Nigeria sign collateral with it. I earn it. If you get people to where they believe you, all I need to do is that if I want to do that, I give you reference. I tell you, please talk to Zenith, talk to this person, talk to this person, let them give you reference. One of them wrote one of the Japanese company. The Japanese company replied and said, Coscharis payment arrived like Japanese express train called Shinkansen. The Shinkansen train is 1 minute to the time, you will not see it. But at the dot, it doesn't close past the time by 1 second. You will not see it 1 minute to the time. It's just like a drop from heaven. So if I am sure I will pay you on December 15, I will tell you I will not be able to pay till January. November 28, I will pay you. It works like magic. Don't owe people and start negotiating. Pay by any means, by whatever means. Keep obligation. You have an open door. So initially, people thought I was manufacturing money. No, people trust me. I was not as rich as many people thought, but they trust that I manage people's resources. By that confidence, made me have unprecedented capacity that I can take on any business. The finance will be available. So people are there to give people money. Bankers are there to support your business, but they want to be sure that if they borrowed you money, they will not go to court to recover it. And I've been in business for 46 years. I've never gone to court with anybody to pay him. And nobody has dragged me to police. If I get angry, I'll take you out quickly. If you really put me under pressure that I do not like, I tell you, no, please keep the goods. When I need it, I pay. Whatever I need, I pay for it. So it's a power you can express, but it comes from integrity, and it's possible. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Wow. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'll just like to make a few announcements as we go along. Many of our participants are asking if this is being recorded. Yes, it is being recorded, and you can also follow us on our social media pages as well. You can go to Networks Business Club on Instagram and check us out at Networks Business Club on Facebook, or RCCG City of David, both on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to read one or two questions, and I'm sure we're enjoying because we have a lot of people that are still glued. Even the participation is getting higher. More people are joining in. So that's a good way of saying you're doing very well, sir, and thank you for this. So I'll quickly go to the next question. And before I go to that next question, there's something somebody's also asking. People are asking, sir, your book, Trial to Triumph. I'm sure we'll be able to get the information of how people can access this, because people want to also read the book. So we'll share this with all our participants once we finish the program. So we'll let you know. So please know that we'll share the information how you can get Doctor's book on Trial to Triumph. Thank you. Okay. Wow. Thank you very much. One of our participants, Olu Ogunfowora, said trust is indeed the currency of business. And this is something you have mentioned. Yes. Okay, sir. We have a question from Silva Kasim. Silva Kasim says, there's this saying that only 20% of Nigerian companies survive the first 10 years. And he says, my question is, how do you ensure that you don't experience this issue? And if you're already seeing signs of issues at, let's say, 10 years of your business, what can you do to change the trend? I'll also quickly add another question also from Olu Ogunfowora, which is similar. He says, a quick question, sir. What are your thoughts on business sustainability and succession planning? Thank you very much, sir.
It's not only in Nigeria. Please don't make mistake. I run a little business in the United States of America. Yes, after the first 5 years, I got a lot of letter congratulatory message. Average new business in America closed within the first 5 years. Please go and check. If you are a regular traveler, whether it is a shop or a mall, food shop, whatever it is, Some of them you see, after 5 years, you go there, there's nothing anything again. I've gone to some restaurant, have a nice meal, but then I come back again, they've already closed shop. So if Nigeria own takes 10 years, America, it takes 5 years. But that middle class must be there to springing up new business, okay? People must be coming up with new ideas. So it's correct, but sometimes people mismanage things and somebody else come and manage it well. The same business where people fail, another person come and make a success out of it because there are things the person have not managed well. Anything you mismanage in life, you lose. If you mismanage your life, you lose it. If you mismanage your spouse, you lose it. If you manage your business, you lose it. Anything you mismanage. So God created a man to be a manager. So management is a key word, okay? And you don't need to go to Harvard to learn economics, because economics starts from your home. Opportunity cost. What are your priorities? What are the things that are important for you that you need to defer and then solve one other problem? If you buy everything because you like it, do you know how many people that call me every day and offer me property? If I start getting worried, if I like property, it's easier way to run bankruptcy. There are many people who have so many property, but they are not liquid, and they will end up selling the property at the end of the day. The key thing is to keep an ego eye on cash flow. The lifespan, the life blood of business, the dynamics of business is the capital, available cash in the business. The mechanics is the intellectual idea you have and the beautiful office you have. Mechanics without dynamics is no good. Neither dynamics without mechanics. It's like having a Rolls-Royce car without engine. Beautiful car. You enter inside, heat will kill you because it cannot move. Capital, cash is the engine, the machine that put those mechanics in action for operation to take. So you must keep an ego eye on it, manage it, and preserve it. Otherwise, you will run bankruptcy. That's why many businesses easily go bankruptcy, because they have not been able to keep up with their obligation. So inventory management is a key for a young business. If you cannot manage your inventory well, you have excessive stock, it will kill you, all of those things. So don't just run into things because they are sweet, but just understand that those things that are sweet has their own way. I'm talking from buying and selling, but businesses differ. There are other businesses where you earn money from providing services, Even on that, you also need to make sure you have enough cash flow to be able to pay your staff and to be able to wait for the business opportunity to come. So cash flow is a prerequisite for success of your business. So how do you manage that? You manage those things to survive is to keep an ego eye on capital and cash flow, and make sure that you can discount all your bill at a maturity. Once you continue to pay consistently, people will continue to avail you credit because it's a moving machine and you will continue to go. I advise young people to avoid government business, to get rich overnight, to make it within 24 hours. Success is a process. It's a journey. It's not reaching a goal, not a destination. It's a journey. You never get to a place in life where you can say you are ultimately successful, but you need to build reserve. In 2011, I met a challenge I never believed that will ever happen to me. Some of you must have read the story. I went to bank and they veiled a credit of 300 million, or about 300 million naira to a young friend of mine. And for some reason, that money was mismanaged and there are a liability of 300 million naira we are crystallizing in my account on a monthly basis as an interest obligation. So what do I need to do? I first of all acknowledge with the financial institution that loaned me that money that, look, there's a challenge. This obligation is there, but take my word for it. I will make good that account. Give me such and such a time to be able to pay down on it. I didn't pay immediately. This happened in 2011 by November, December. But by 2000 I started paying from 2012. By 2014, I went out of that obligation. I let go some of the things I have to be able to meet that obligation. That financial institution, go today, ask them about me. They will tell you the best company to do business with is Coscharis. I paid. And on that transaction, we lost money. Yes, you can never get into business and think you know it all. Life is about a journey. You never reach the destination. Whenever you think you have graduated in life, nature have a way to write you a new subject that you need to start studying. But you are never promoted until you are overqualified. All of the tests that comes to you in life is to prepare you for great advancement when you pass it. But if you fail that course, you will rewrite it again. So when you go to school and look at the natural things they teach you in school, it's really how life operates in itself. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that is the way I perceive it. You need to keep an ego eye on capital and continue to keep your obligation, and your business will continue to move on, and you will never come to an end. Business is organic by nature. It has a life, perpetual life that it can always unlike we human beings. If you continue to trim it and refine it, that's why it can last for 300 years, 400 years, continue to. On Coscharis success story, yes, you will be able to see, for those of you who may not know, that we are on the right course. I started this business completely as a one-man organization. Today, we have over 2,600 people in our payroll working for us. It used to be me doing everything. In the last 15, 20 years, I don't sign check in Coscharis. So we are institutionalizing the business. About 5 years ago, we had a 5-year strategic plan that was anchored by KPMG, where we want to be and all of those things. Today, we are audited by X and Young. So with wrapping up, we are moving on. It's just making a decision today with myself. So we are planning to, I'm waiting for the economy to rebound. We want to sell some part of the share to the public because I'm already 62. And I started this when I was 7, 8 years. I don't want to go to office with a walking stick in my hand. So the younger generation should take off. So in another 7 years or so, there are other things that makes me happy that I want to concentrate and focus on and gradually take an honorable exit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. You answered the questions perfectly. And yes, you've captured everything, sir. Just not to take too much of your time, we'll start winding down gradually because we know that you have already given us a lot. Okay. And if we allow, we can still stay here for the next few days, but we'll just try to acknowledge your time. Okay, sir. So while this was going on, we had some questions from some of our participants. Olatunji Adenuga asked a question. He first of all said, "Thank you, sir, for the great stories." That is, he's acknowledging your storytelling ability. He says, "Sir, how were you, sir, and how have you been able to navigate through corrupt government agencies when dealing with them in the course of doing business?" And I'll also add this to Barrister Mikey Basin's question too, which is similar. He says, "How do you handle issues with corruption, kickbacks, and bribery in the Nigeria business environment? And finally, what do you think is the role of government in helping businesses grow?" Thank you, sir.
Very good question. I'll be honest to you, when I started, it was a very big challenge because at that time we are small and you can easily intimidate us. We don't have all the capacity. But like everything in life, as you are ramping up, you become more bold and you can take on things and challenge things. I will be honest to you to say, you can't live in this country and deny those things that they do not exist. They do. You know, you can just, live in a fool paradise to say it does not exist. It exists to a shameful position. We march on the road and see some of our law enforcement agents not only collect money, but give receipt when they collect money or give change. It has been so deteriorated. When we were small, it used to be some boys selling bread that goes to transporters and collect money on behalf of some of the law enforcement agents. This one is that you see them, in the Fed, whether you are videoing them or not, it does not matter. They give you change or give you paper to show you are paid in case if you are coming back. So it exists. Now, one thing you need to know, and I need to make this statement very clear, so please understand this. My understanding about bribe is give you money to influence you to do what is wrong, to influence you to pervert justice. When an armed robber meets you on the road, even though somebody make a joke, say that an armed robber meet an Igbo man and say you're alive for your money, the Igbo man say, give me time to think about it. So, because he wants to be sure whether life has any meaning without money. But the real truth about it is that when a man put a gun in your head and want to extort money from you, or he will kill you, if you give the money, you have not bribed him, because it's like when you're a lady and a man overpower you and rape you. You are not guilty of adultery or fornication. Okay? So those two things are different. Let me put it in another way. If you are in import business and you have maybe dealing with parts of an engine, there is piston ring that is in a piston in a car or in automobile, any automobile. It has a different tariff heading. You imported it. And a custom officer who wants to extort money from you start putting for you a ring that you put in your hand and tell you, oh, this is the tariff number and you need to bring the money. And you refuse to pay, the demurrage is accruing. The bank is expecting for you to return the money at a correct time. I call that one extortion, because you are not giving him money because you wanted to pervert justice. You've shown the correct tariff heading. It's like meeting a robber who has a gun, and if you don't give him money, pay, because at the end of the day, you don't give him the money, the demurrage that is accruing, they won't give you rebate on demurrage. The interest in the bank is counting. If you summon all of those things together, you pay more money than what is demanding from you. In situations like that, yes, I pay money, but I do not consider it bribe. But I've seen people who come to buy vehicle from us. We are selling a car, 20 million, and the person said, you have to invoice it 30 million. I said, sorry, we don't do things like that. We invoice you the price. We say, it's okay, if you don't do it, we go. It's okay, thank you very much, please, you can go. They can go to some other person who will come and buy the car from me and invoice it to them. But I invoice it to the price. I have sold car to some state government, armored car. The following day, 3 weeks after, people call us and say we should come and take those armored car and bring the soft money and return XYZ. I said, no, you can sell the car yourself. We don't do things like that in Coscharis. We will write the engine and chassis number of the car we sell to you in the delivery voice. That's what we sell. Whatever you do with it when you take delivery is your business, but we will not be party to it. So in that sense, I understand what it is, and we don't play with it. It's there, it exists. But there are some of the things we also challenge. Recently, we have some challenge we are going. We've reported it to our principals. I'm sorry to say, Because you hear, you see where people rule you like you a slave, you cannot talk. Ford Automobile invoices vehicle. And currently, Nigerian custom want us to pay 25% higher than the price Ford is invoicing us, and tell you that that is what they saw in the internet. So I've gotten Ford to go and swear an affidavit, registered it in American embassy, and go and give them. Toyota have done the same thing, but Honda is paying 25% ahead. How do you do things like this? You are part of the World Trade Organization. Tariff head is clear. You cannot accept manufacturer's invoice. You dictate price of car from your bedroom. This is an act of, this happened in our system. That's why we're saying we need to reform, because this is not normal. We kill businesses. I'm speaking openly. Some people will go, after they wait for 6 months, they want to extort money from you. They tell you they got a petition, you cheated for 600 million. All they are trying to do is to blackmail you to take 100 million or 40 million. I say, please, go to court and show your case. If I cheated, show the things that I cheated. But some people go and pay and said the whole thing, they will put it in the internet and it will spoil their name. I say, please put it anywhere, but justify what you are saying. So, but for a younger person who is coming up that doesn't have the muscle we have, there are things you cannot do with Dangote today. There are things you cannot do with Coscharis. But some young businesses are killed by these authorities, and they extort money and put them under. So it's a growth phase. As you grow and get capacity, you can take on the fight. But as you're growing, there are certain places you cannot take on the fight. If you don't compromise, they kill your business and they don't care. So that's my understanding about it. But it's subjective. But my own position is that I will not offer you money to influence you to do what is wrong. But if you hold a gun on me and extort money from me, you should answer for it, not me answering for it. Because I will tell you clearly that this is not something I want to do. Okay, so that's my answer. You may not agree with you, but you need to be convinced to know where you are standing in taking decisions in what you do.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for explaining all this. And I think our participants have heard this loud and clear. There's so many nuggets that we can't even start to pick one out of them, or two or three. Thankfully, this is being recorded, and I'm sure our participants will be able to go back, and any other person too, and listen to all this again. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for this. As we're wrapping up a bit, I would like to also just announce again, you can follow us on all our social media handles at Network Business Club on Instagram and on Facebook as well, even on YouTube. We're streaming this live, and also RCCG City of David. RCCG City of David. You can also check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Also, this experience session is something we do regularly as well, where we bring captains of industry like Dr. Cosmas Maduka to share their life experiences with us. And if you have agreed that he has been doing this perfectly, can you please give your feedback in the comment section as well? Can we also just say, thank you so far for all that you've been doing? Sir, I'm going to ask another question, which will be like our final question for today, so that you can just use that. And after that, you can also round up. But I'll make them two in one, sir. Two in one question. Yes, just so you mentioned something that has been very important, I think, in Africa. In fact, the Igbo apprenticeship system is something that has been celebrated worldwide, even though Nigeria as a whole, we've not even looked into this formally, but there have been so many TED Talk information videos about this apprenticeship system. So somebody is asking, Moses is asking that, how do you think, as a way of giving back to society and what you're doing in your personal capacity and your group as Coscharis, help to institutionalize this apprenticeship system so that it's not lost and forgotten, so that other people too can practice it, just like we see what the Japanese, the Asians, a lot of people do. They document these things. So that's just one part. Then finally, now that you've already mentioned how you intend to do your succession planning, what are the things you are considering about your legacy? What would you wish to be remembered for in the sound of time? This is from BC Bright. Says, are your children involved? Your dreams, what are your legacy, the things that you would want people to remember you for? And this will be my final question, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Before I answer your final question, please, you can take this number down. That's my PA, Joe Mwabo. You can call him if you want to get the book, but you can also get the book in Amazon, but you pay in foreign exchange. But I think it may be cheaper for you to get it here. His number is 081 8677 6060. You can send him a text or WhatsApp or 080 501 8500. Joe Mwabo is my PA. He will tell you where you can get the book here, from trial to triumph, the story of Cosmas and Charity Maduka, written by Ambassador Odo. Let me answer your question. No, you can read it out. I'm confused. Let me answer your question about the successional plan. Can you repeat the question again? Because I'm got to be distracted.
Yes, sir. One is about institutionalizing the Igbo apprenticeship system.
Okay, fine. Let me take that quickly.
Yes,
okay,
first. That's the first one, sir.
Yeah. Please believe me, I am a great advocate about entrepreneurship, about apprenticeship. I believe it is the right way to go. I do not know what anybody can think about this, but in 2014, I got invitation to UNIDO. I went to Vienna to give a presentation on this matter about apprenticeship, Igbo apprenticeship system. I was in Vienna, a United Nations headquarters, to discuss this and share my experience. And I can tell you, based on the experience that I have, if you get a young man who will possess the discipline for these 6 years of apprenticeship successfully, on my honor, I'm not exaggerating, please believe me, you give him $500,000 and give somebody that has gone to university ₦2 million to start a business from ground zero. Give them 1 or 2 years. The person that did apprenticeship will catch up, if not surpass the other one. Many young people said, you don't know what you're talking. What I need is capital. If you give me ₦100 million, if you see what I will do in 6 months. What we say in business terminology is that you learn in a hard way. If you do not have knowledge of what to do and get a capital, you will lose the capital for that knowledge you do not have. So, apprenticeship is a way to go. I try the best I can, but let me be very honest to you. Young people who are spoiled by their parents cannot survive, do not have what they require to go through this apprenticeship, because it's not anybody, it's like a military school. There are some hurdles you need to go through. There are some things you need to understand. Even my children, it was difficult. When my first son and my second son were in Ubah, during vacation, I brought them to work for me. I said, enter the warehouse, go and learn how to drive forklift. Did they do it? One of them get angry. So I'm sending him to university to come and learn to drive forklift. I told him, you will never enter into your history in life because you miss it. Those things require discipline to bend down. So how many people that went to university that you can put into the warehouse to help to sort out goods and they will not think it's an insult? There are still some people, very few people, who are serious and are determined to survive. And I'll be honest with you to say, you know me, but if you want to get a result, things has to follow its natural course. Okay? Any baby that says before I get up to work. I must make sure my leg is strong. I don't want to get up and people laugh at me. It will be learned. It will never work. Rising and falling is a part of way to learn. So you must be determined for people to laugh at you. Anybody who wants easy life will have love life, later love life and life. But if you want hard life now, you will later have easy life down the line. You don't develop you don't make progress with everything going well for you. Challenges is a building material to get you to where you want to be. So make a decision to suffer now when you have your youth and your age. And for young people, let me sound clear warning. You make yourself when you are young. If you fail to get clear sense of direction by 30, 35, before you know it, you clock 40. You are still calling yourself young man. You're already at 50. Your time don't pass. So if you want to somersault, you must somersault between the age of 8 and 18. When you pass 25 and you attempt to somersault, you get a spinal cord injury because your body is not as flexible as it should be. So you must learn to do this thing when you have the energy and ability. That's when you need to suffer. But all these boys who are just lighting a course nobody give them to run, you want to be the first person that forward the message from YouTube. You want to be the first person who introduce a story. Nobody give you PhD for it. Nobody give you. You don't get. You are running a exam that nobody set for you. It doesn't take you anywhere. Discipline yourself and take something to do and focus on it at your youthful age. You will see how beautiful your life will be. And finally, about apprenticeship, 2 of my children are already in my business. Both of them rent economics. I did my best to train my children. I have a home in United States of America in Delaware, Ohio, sitting in 4 or 6 acres of land. I live there with my children, but I never allow any of my children to study abroad, maybe because of my level of illiteracy. I wanted them to study in Nigeria, make first degree, because I want them to learn street smart. 3 of them are American citizens. My daughter is a medical doctor who cannot even practice medicine in America with her, but he went to Unilag in Idiaraba. During church, he said, "Daddy, let's send driver." I said, "Please enter Okada." These are other people's children. So I carry my daughter on a motorbike. She's not afraid. When I give her out to marriage, I tell the husband, "You are getting a great asset in your house," because I taught her discipline. And I made my children that they will not drive car during their university college. They went to Unilag, 3 or 2 of them. They read economics. And they never, my second son dared me one day and took Ford Focus out. And I kicked him out of my house for 3 months. I made him to go and share toilet with other people that he took for granted while he's living with me. But today, I don't control the car they drive. Some of them are driving X5, BMW, X6. Some are driving Range Rover Discovery. My daughter, I told her, "You won't get a car until you graduated." After she read medicine, I started her with Chinese car. And I said, "You drive it for 1 year, you don't have accident, I will promote you." She drove it for 1 year and never scratched it, and I gave her a Range Rover Evoque. The major problem we have is parental delinquency. Many parents are delinquent, and that's the thing that affects their children. They are delinquent themselves, that they never help the children. So children are already spoiled. Instead of helping them, you just let them, do everything they want because you want to get their friendship. You are building them for disaster. So anybody who wants to be successful should focus before he turned 30. At 28, 29, you're already at a borderline. So they are all in the business, wearing a big shoe that yet will feed them, and I'm watching them. At the end of the day, I have a clear vision what I want to do. I'm going to appoint trustees who will determine who run the company when I'm not there. They are going to compete with the best of the company. Otherwise, it's their father's property. They will make money, will be made and give to them. So if you want to carry busu for back, that become your business. If it's money you like as a pet, you can keep it. But the company will be independent, running, earn money. Whatever is here to you, you use it the way you like. But I'm not going to get any renegade to say he's running the company and kill other 2,600 people who have put 30 years of their life behind the organization. The company has to run professionally and continue to return superior shareholders fund. And as an institution, we have changed the narrative and created a model people should look forward to. It's the wickedness. Ojuku atene Edichuku moto is Juku. These are our mentors, but they didn't have a sustainable business. Coscharis is beginning to change the narrative that people will see that it will not be a business as a user. What we are creating is an institution. It will outlive every one of us, including my children. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Can we just appreciate Dr. Cosmas Maduka in the chat section? Wherever we are in the chat section, everywhere, just say thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. We are indeed grateful for your time and for everything. You have said a lot. You have shared so many stories. One of the things you said success is a journey. It is not a final destination. Right. And we need to know that as well. You also mentioned some other important things. You said, whatever you mismanage, you will lose. I think this is very important as well. So many nuggets you said, and there are so many. So God bless you so much, sir. We're indeed grateful. At this point, I would like to just make a few more announcements. His book is available for those of us that want to go in depth more, from trials to triumph. And we will share this information. I know he has shared the information of his colleague, his assistant. For those of you that still want to get more information, please follow us as well. We will send this via email for those that have registered. We will also share it on all social media handles, to Twitter and everything. So follow us to get this information clearly. And it's indeed an honor to have you here, sir. So without wasting much time, my name is once again Olusegun Oyetunji, and I've been your moderator for today on behalf of the Networks Business Club, which is an arm of the RCCG. Okay, and very, very importantly, we cannot say thank you enough. We continue to say thank you for everything and for your time, sir, for coming on here. At this point, I'm going to call on one of our deputy coordinators for the Networks Business Club to come and give the vote of thanks and also give us a closing prayer. I'm going to call on Pastor Femi Sanusi to please come and give us a vote of thanks. Pastor Femi Sanusi, over to you, sir. Sir, we need you to unmute yourself, sir.
Pastor Femi is still mute. You need to unmute. Yeah, okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful, wonderful session, sir. God bless you. We have been so blessed. I mean, personally, I've learned so much from you today, and I believe that everyone that has attended this session has truly been blessed. God bless you, sir. We really, really appreciate you. I want to encourage all of you to please buy Dr. Maduka's book. I think it will be a great continuation of what you've heard today. You know, a book will last you for a lifetime. It will be a personal experience, and I'm sure that, you know, that truly God has blessed you today. I want to also thank you for attending today's event. You know, one thing for all of us in life is that we should not be hearers but doers. You know, we've heard wonderful testimonies of Dr. Maduka today, and I believe that as you practice everything that you have learned today, as you bring it to your own situation, in your finances, in your marriage, in your personal life, in your spiritual growth, you know, your testimonies will be greater than what you expect. So what is important today is for us all to key into this wonderful testimony of Dr. Maduka. And I believe that God will bless you abundantly in Jesus' mighty name. As Shegun said, please, any questions, if you want the recording or if you want a reference to all this event today, you will get it by contacting us in all our media platforms. So let us pray and just thank God for this wonderful day. Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for, it's truly been a day of joy, a day you have made, and we are truly rejoicing and we are glad in it. We thank you for the privilege of attending this experience session of the City of David Networks. We give you all the glory, honor, and adoration. Accept our thanks in Jesus' name. We thank you for a wonderful, rewarding session. We thank you for the testimony of our speaker, Dr. Cosmas Maduka. Father, you are truly faithful. Thank you for the manifestation of your presence so powerfully in this session. Father, as we close this session today, we want to ask that you visit all the participants financially, maritally, physically, and most importantly, with your presence like never before. We use the testimonies of this session as a point of contact to promote every participant of this event to a greater level of glory in Jesus' name. Father, we also ask that you bless your son, Dr. Maduka, in a special way today. Take him from glory to glory. Give him greater testimonies in Jesus' name. Father, we declare that concerning his business, concerning his family, Father, they would live and not die. Father, they would prosper and be in good health all the days of their life. Father, we declare that even the business of Coscharis shall be a legacy, and it shall even transform many, many more lives globally in the name of Jesus. Father, we also ask that all the works that have been spoken today would transform the lives of every listener to a greater level of glory. And as we end this meeting, give each of us a divine encounter with you. Make our joy full. In Jesus' mighty name, we are praying. Thank you very much all for this wonderful time. And we pray that, as God has blessed you and I today, the blessings shall remain permanent in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you in our next experience session. Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you. Shalom, brethren. God
Shalom.
bless you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, it's my honor to, share this little view. And for those who still want to know more, if you go to YouTube, you can see different places and occasions where I've spoken, just that you come to the kind of things we have done today. You go there, you will not see more than 1,200 participants, but put a naked woman on the phone, you see 2 million cricket the following day and all of that, The devil fighting young men, try to, really, attack their mind and take it to a captive market and destroy them. I pray you choose things you listen to. That's the power of vision. When you have vision, you don't get to the bookshop and try to spend 2 hours there. You know the particular book to buy. You have you live a narrow life. You choose who your friends want to be. You know the goal you have will protect you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure sharing this experience with every one of you. And good night, good day.
Thank you very much, sir. Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All our participants, let us appreciate Dr. Cosmas Maduka, CON, once again in the chat section. We are indeed grateful, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, we would also like us to follow Coscharis Group on all social media handles and even the website www.coscharisgroup.net so that we can see at least how the businesses have grown. It is a diverse, multi-international business. So we can see so many things and learn more. And we can also search for Dr. Cosmas Maduka on YouTube, as he has said, and so many platforms. There are so many ways that we can reach. And please also watch out. We'll send more information to many of us. So thank you very much, sir. Remember, Coscharis Group, check online, do your Google search, check all your search, and you will definitely find a lot of information. Thank you once again. I remain your moderator, Olusegun Oyetunji, on behalf of the Networks Business Club.
Please, let me still interrupt you. Please, I'm not on Facebook. There are 4 accounts that is on Facebook. They're all fake, trying to extort money from people so that somebody will watch this and say, oh, yeah, become my friend and went to Facebook. So let me make that, I'm too busy now to manage it, and I will later come. But all those 4 accounts are fake 419. Before you finish this, they will post it there and start talking to people and say, I get a job at NMPC or make registration fee. There's IG hiring. Let nobody go there. They're all fake and fraudulent. I've reported to Facebook. For some reason, they don't want to take them down. But that has nothing to do with me. Before somebody is robbed and said, Coscharis, they followed him on the Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All noted, sir. We would also make sure that from our own end, we will share the main handles and the right information. So please make sure you stay glued to us as well so that we can give you the correct information. Thank you very much, sir. We have remarks from our participants. Kingsley Ebodage says, thank you very much, sir. I was blessed beyond measure. I am inspired. Thank you very much. David Bright says, I've already downloaded a lot of his videos on YouTube and they are wonderful. Benedicta Obienyem also says, thank you very much, sir. I have never been tired listening to your story, and it is always a motivation to me. God continue to bless you abundantly in Jesus' name. Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for all the wonderful remarks you're giving. Even Ime Udo Bong also says this. I am very blessed, and I'm saying thank you once again, sir. So that's from our participants, and they're from all over the world. So we say thank you very much, sir. Make sure that you keep following us, and you will get more information about our next program and multiple programs that we'll host. Once again, I am signing out for this time, Olusegun Yetunji, on behalf of the Networks Business Club, which is an arm of the RCCG City of David. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, Olusegun. Bye. God bless.
Thank you, sir.